today's agenda, I'm going to cover these concepts. Since everybody knew and it's your day one, so most of you are hearing cloud computing and cloud technology. So what is this cloud technology is all about? So why people are very crazy about this cloud computing? Why the enterprises are moving to the cloud? Okay, what is the demand? So why you need to learn everything we will see today. And within this cloud computing, so we have some of the service models and the deployment models. So what are those? We'll also see them. And in this cloud era, so we have a different cloud providers. We have something called AWS, GCP, Azure, and especially why you need to learn Azure. So what is the impact that you're going to get it by learning Azure also we'll see. And we'll also see some of the certification paths which are available in the cloud. And most important thing, job opportunities. So once you're done with this particular specific training, what kind of opportunities you can get into the market, maybe in India, maybe in UK, maybe in some other countries. Okay, so let's get started. So let's say, for example, you have an idea to start an application, or maybe I can put it in this way also. You have a small business, so wherein you wanted to expand it to the globally or over the internet. Okay, so to do that, so the first and foremost thing what you need to do is, okay, you need to publish a particular application into the internet. So wherein users can download your app, or maybe users can go to your application and do some orders and do some purchases, whatever. So if you wanted to develop such an application, these are quite common things that you needed. So which include servers, storage, and some dedicated network, and the security. And at the same time, you needed developers also. So in common, let's see how these particular things will work, okay, with some examples now. So I'm going to take a basic example of some of the very basic application like a Swiggy. Okay, it's one of the food delivery application in India. Let's say if you wanted to start an application like this or a startup like this. So as I mentioned, we need to have certain servers. For example, let's say you are going to buy a server. Let's say this is one server, for example. Okay, on top of the server, okay, you are going to deploy your application, for example. I would call it as server 1. Today you have taken a one server and you have deployed your application. So before you go and buy the server, maybe at the enterprise level, what happens is, so first you need to buy the hardware. Hardware means, okay, you need to buy the complete setup. Okay, like a data disk, OSDs, or maybe like a NICs, whatever. Okay, once you buy the hardware, then you need to buy the license also, operating system license. So generally, when you buy a laptop, so they will give you the complete laptop along with an operating system, right? The similar way, so here also, we need to buy the hardware, and to buy the hardware also at the enterprise level, okay, they will call the biddings. Okay, they quote some prices. So different vendors will come and they quote the different prices. So whosoever give the best price, okay, they will buy the hardware from them and they will buy the license from them. And to build a single server, okay, to buy a hardware and the license, so on an average, it's going to cost you, let's say, for example, for the hardware, it might cost you somewhere around 50,000. I'm just taking some rough figure, how the cost will be included, okay, to build these particular servers. And a licensing cost, okay, let's say, for example, I'll take some averages, 10,000. And once you have this particular one single server, and let's say, if you wanted to deploy an application, so you need to also have a dedicated network. So this network, okay, you need it, okay, for the security. You cannot simply host your applications, okay, over the internet. So you need a proper network. And in addition to that, okay, you also need a security. So for these particular services, okay, we have a different tools and services. So for that also, let's say for example, you might have spent somewhere around close to 50,000. Okay, and most important thing is we might need to hire the employees, for example. So maybe developers, whosoever. So maybe even if you hire minimum medium level people, at least if you hire 3 to 4 people, so at least on an average, okay, 1 lakh rupee salaries per month you have to pay to them. Okay, so this is a kind of beginning things, okay, that you will perform. So let's say an hours here, you spent almost close to 2 lakhs plus, and you have deployed your application on the server. So will there be any guarantee that this particular server will be always up? So generally, sometimes, okay, your laptop can crash, okay, due to some reasons, okay, it might be always rebooted something, but you cannot, rely on a single server. So to provide some high availability for your application, so definitely you will go with another server. So let's say you will, build one more server just to provide some high availability. So if you want to buy a new server again, you need to spend the same cost again. So this will become double. So you are going to spend another 50,000 to buy the hardware and another 10,000 to buy the license for that particular specific VM. Okay, now you have two servers, and if you wanted to distribute your incoming traffic equally to the both the servers, for example, so we need to also use some load balancers. Okay, so these are all some of the technical terms. If you don't know, nothing to worry. So we will discuss about these. So this particular load balancer, what it does is, if any traffic is coming, so it will distribute the traffic equally to the both the servers. Okay, so for this load balancer, again, you might end up with spending some more extra 50,000 for the setup and the license and all. Okay, this everything is good and all are perfect. But when you start a business, okay, there will be some risk also involved, right? Let's say, for example, considering, okay, 2 years back, okay, we had a very huge impact of COVID. So during the COVID, okay, so most of the business were, in loss, especially a application like a Swiggy who does the food delivery. So they do not have any business. And when you don't have a business, so you cannot, pay the salaries to the employees, first of all, and whatever the setup that you made, it will be wasted. You go into the losses. Okay, so on an average, if you see here, it is close to 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakhs, almost like, 3 lakhs 20,000 investment you made. This entire investment is loss. Even at the enterprise level, when you wanted to start an application, they need to follow the similar procedures. So wherein, okay, they will be building their, VMs in their data centers. So data center is the one, okay, wherein, okay, it's kind of a group of VMs, everything, okay, will be put together in single center, single place. I'll show you how the data center also looks like. So this is how they are operating. So now every enterprise has these challenges to manage this particular, servers, okay, to manage the security, to even if something goes wrong, okay, they are ending up with a huge loss. So this is kind of a very big problem. So that's what I was about to show you here. So to set up certain application here, initially it will be very expensive as well as risky. And if the number of users increases, let's say, for example, your application become more popular, and if the more number of users get increases, so you need to buy the more number of servers. And for that, again, you have to put the more number of investment. So this is a huge problem. This particular problem is going to solve by this cloud computing. Let's see how it is. So cloud computing is kind of a platform that provides an access to the computing resources over the internet. This means, so what these particular cloud providers are telling that, so to set up your application, okay, whatever the required, okay, these servers, hardware, operating system, network, security, you don't take all the headaches. Okay, so these cloud providers, so what they're telling is, whatever is required, okay, to set up your application. So let's say all these things. Okay, so they are going to provide you as a service. So if you wanted to have a one VM or one server, okay, subscribe my subscription and start using it. So let's say, for example, subscribe it and use it and pay me at the end of the month in the form of pay as you go. That's it. You don't have to take a headache of buying this particular hardware, buying this license, taking care of the security, everything they will take care. And they just to give you as a service. And you have to use that particular service and you have to pay them at the end of the month. And this we are already doing it, okay, so in our day-to-day life also. I can give you some of the examples. Let's say, for example, in India, for example, okay, you have something called June car, wherein you don't have to own a car. You can just simply rent it and you can go for a ride and you can just pay them whatever you're using. Something like we have a concept called bounce bike. If you want to go from one place to the another place, you can just rent a bike, and whatever they are charging, you just pay them. That's it. You're not worried about buying a car or worried about not buying a bike. The same concept applicable here. For the enterprises, okay, to build their enterprise applications, okay, whatever it is. So these cloud providers, they are providing them as a service, and enterprises can use it and can pay them at the end of the month. Let's say how this particular cloud concept is going to benefit a startup like a Swiggy or any other enterprise. So for example, in this scenario, if you get into the loss, whatever the efforts and investment that you kept is waste of money. You go into the losses. But in here, by using this particular cloud services, you're not investing anything in advance. You're just simply subscribing them and start using these particular services and paying them at the end of the month. A startup like a Swiggy, for example, so they make the profits, okay, after they're delivering the food, right? And they can pay the, this particular cloud provider, bill from their profits, and they're not getting into any loss. Let's say their business is not working, okay, they're getting into the loss. They can simply approach this particular cloud providers and they can simply unsubscribe. They're not losing anything. So that is one of the very big advantages, okay, you moving to the cloud. So you are reducing the management efforts. Okay, so you don't need to manage anything. So they will provide you everything as a service. You just use it and pay them at the end of the month in the form of pay-as-you-go. That's it. Okay, that is one of the biggest advantages. Okay, why the enterprises are moving to the cloud and why they are started using the cloud. So let's see more in details about the cloud now. So now you got to know some idea what is cloud computing means. Cloud computing is a platform that provides an access to the computing resources. When I say computing resources, the kind of a servers or a databases or a storage, whatever that you require to get for hosting your applications. Fine. Now, yeah, this is one of the definition, so which we have already seen. And this is how the data center looks like. So if you don't know how the data center looks like, so this is the data center inside view. So your companies, whatever the company that you name, they might have their own data centers. So these are the different hardwares, racks, and within that, okay, they deploy they host their services, and on that particular top of the services, okay, they deploy the applications, and this entire headache now taken care by the cloud provider, and all those services, okay, they're managing it and providing as a service. That's it. Okay, so now this is one of the advantage. So why businesses move into the cloud? The first thing is licensing cost. So here you don't have to take care of any licensing cost. Okay, they will manage everything. And second thing is protection of data. So when you have your own application and if it is let's say some like a banking application or maybe like in any finance applications, okay, securing the data is very important because now the data is their business, for example. So they need to take care of the more security. So here you need to take a lot of efforts for that. So but when it comes to cloud provider, okay, they take care of the security as well. So that is one of the biggest advantage. And frequent upgrades on the latest technologies and versions. So when you are managing this particular entire setup, you need to keep update your softwares. If you have an operating system, for your operating systems, okay, you need to apply the patches and features and updates. So these are also will be taken care by this particular cloud provider. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why companies are able to move to the cloud. And if you talk about some of the more advantages why cloud, so we can talk about these three. First thing is the speed. So let's say on your data center level, maybe I'll call it as an on-premises. Okay, so within your on-premises, if you wanted to build a server, in general, it will take minimum 30 days to 2 months time, which means 1 month to 2 months time, because they need to buy the hardware. Okay, they need to buy the license. And once you have those particular hardware and license, You need to get the approvals from the management. You follow certain approval process. And once you get an approval, okay, you have a server built team wherein they build the servers, then they will install the operating system, they apply the licenses. It will take minimum 1 month. But when it comes to the cloud, if you have all the details, you can create the same server within a minute, hardly 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so here it's going to take 1 month, and here it is going to take hardly 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so that is one of the biggest advantages you move into the cloud, which is speed. So whatever the infrastructure that you need, when I say infrastructure, all these servers, networks, storage, databases, so they comes under infrastructure, so you can easily create them. And second thing is the scale. Let's say, considering this particular situation, if you want to enhance your business, can you please be on mute? Okay. If you wanted to enhance your business, okay, so you need to put more efforts. You need to buy the same infrastructure again. Okay, let's say, for example, right now you have a business in India, and if you wanted to expand your business in UK, for example, so there also you need to buy the same setup. It will cost you more than in India. Okay, so risk also will be involved. But within the cloud computing, so you can just start using those services in a UK region. That's it. So every region they have the specific prices, and you can start using it and pay them the cheap. So that is one more second advantage, which is scale and economics. So most of the companies exiting from their data center and moving to the cloud, they're able to save a lot of cost. Okay, so with the recent surveys, okay, I heard companies are able to save more than 50 to 60% of their annual income by moving to the cloud. Why? Because so within the on-premises, let's say, for example, if you have a hardware, you have created 2 VMs, for example, you have created 2 servers, for example, and if you don't use it, or if you use it, okay, you have to maintain them. Okay, you have to pay for the license, you have to bear the hardware, you have to manage the employees to manage this particular servers. Everything is a headache. But within the cloud, if you're not in use, okay, you can simply delete them. Okay, and whenever you want it, you can recreate them. Okay, so that is one of the biggest advantages. Okay, so you move into the cloud, you can save a lot of cost. So these are the 3 benefits you can talk about. One is speed, scale, and economics. Okay, so now we got to know some importance of the cloud computing. Okay, so they manage some services, they provide us, and we use them and pay them at the end of the month. Now, how they are providing? Okay, so cloud computing service models. So they are providing the services in 3 different ways. So one is IaaS, so infrastructure as a service, and PaaS, which is platform as a service, SaaS, software as a service. Let's see some examples for these 3 different service models. So let us start with this. Let's say on the on-premises, which means, okay, this particular setup, okay, where the companies are managing everything on their own. So to deploy any application, they follow these particular things. You have to manage everything. Starting with the networking, okay, they need to manage their own network, and then you need to manage the storage, and top onto that, okay, you need to manage the servers and the virtualization. So what is this virtualization? We'll talk about it. And operating system. And on a VM, on a server, when you wanted to deploy some applications, you need to have a middleware. Some of the middlewares you might have heard about, like a Tomcat, Apache, or a IIS web server for Windows. So these are the middlewares, okay, that you need to enable. And top onto that, what type of application you wanted to host? Okay, runtime. Is it a Java application, or a .NET application, or maybe PHP application, or a Python application? So that you need to, install those particular application related dependencies and the runtimes. And then on top onto that, okay, you will host your application along with your data. So this is the complete, things that you manage, okay, at the on-premises in this setup. But when you move to the cloud, let's see the same things, how they're offering. So when it comes to the IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service, so the beginning core, services like networking, storage, server, and virtualization will be taken care by the cloud provider. So in this case, since we are discussing about Azure, so Azure is from the Microsoft. So which means Microsoft will take care of this particular things. Like, they take care of the network, storage, servers, as well as the virtualization. And top onto these, what type of operating system you wanted, whether it is Windows or Linux, okay, what type of middleware you wanted, okay, what type of application you wanted to host, okay, according to that, okay, you can choose the runtime and you can host your application along with the data. So this you can manage it. If you see here, you're reducing half of the headache because buying the hardware, storage, server itself, okay, will take a lot of time. So these cloud providers, okay, they provide you as a service and you can simply choose whatever you wanted. That is infrastructure as a service. But when it comes to the platform as a service, so it's kind of like, completely managed service. Most of the things will be taken care of by the cloud provider only. And these services are mostly helpful for the developers, wherein they can just simply push their code and they can have a highly available application. But the advantages and disadvantages with the IaaS and PaaS is, so here in case of the IaaS, you can do so many customizations because until only maintaining the hardware and virtualization, okay, the cloud provider is managing, and top onto that, whatever you wanted, you can manage it. But when it comes to the this particular PaaS services, most of the things, okay, they manage it. Okay, you will not have any control on it. Okay, so that is one more advantage. And when coming to the SaaS, which is software as a service, everything will be taken care by them. It's kind of a plug and play. Okay, so you're not worried about, okay, under which server, okay, that particular application is running, what operating system, okay, this particular application is using, what middleware, okay, what runtime stack it is, everything you don't know. Some of the examples I can say, okay, like let's say for example, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, what the Zoom, whatever we are joining now. So these are all comes under SaaS platforms. Outlook, Microsoft Teams, Skype, okay, maybe Gmail, Yahoo, Google Drive. So these are all comes under SaaS platforms. We don't know, okay, where it is hosted, okay, what type of runtime it is, which coding language they have developed application. You don't know anything. It's simply signing up and using it. That is called software as a service. Okay, so I'm repeating again these three things: IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service; PaaS, platform as a service; SaaS, software as a service. Three different service models. I can give you some of the examples here. Let's say this IaaS, I can compare you. Let's say if you buy a new house, for example, if you buy a house from the builder, okay, how he will give the house? He will just simply construct the four walls, and he will just do the paint, and he will give it to you. That's it. And within that particular house, what type of interior you wanted, how you wanted, you can do so many customizations. It's up to your choice. But the major required, constructing the walls, pillars, everything, he will build and give it to you. That's it. This I can compare with the IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So here also, to deploy your application, the major required hardware, storage, networking will be provided by this cloud provider. And top of that, you can do so many customizations. And coming to the platform as a service, this is kind of you going to the furnished house. Okay, wherein they might be already constructed a house and they have the complete interior on their own and it's completely furnished. You will just simply go and stay. That is kind of a platform as a service. And coming to the software as a service, it is kind of a hotel room. So wherein, okay, you will just book it and you will just go and stay and come back. That's it. You're not worried about what is happening there, nothing. Okay, just to make you understand some real-time example, generic examples I have given that, but yes. And this also I can compare with one of the example like a car as a service. So let's say this is kind of an on-premises. It is kind of you owning a car. Let's say, for example, if you own a car, you manage everything, right? Okay, buying the car and maintaining the finance, everything you manage it. That is I can compare with you hosting application and the data center. This particular setup. And coming to the IaaS, I can give you the example as a car lease. So when you give a car for a lease, you buy the car. Okay, the main portion is buying a car, and you just give it as a lease. But when you give it to the lease, so he will take care of the remaining things like road tax, fuel, renewables, everything he will maintain. And coming to the platform as a service, I can compare it as a car hire, something like you booking a Zoom car. Let's say if you want to go for a family trip, okay, so you can book a Zoom car for 1 day, and whatever they're charging, you will pay it. And here, okay, these things, okay, they take care, and you take care only this, filling the fuel, take care of the driver, and you pay the road tolls. That's it. And SaaS, I can compare it as a taxi. Okay, you just book it and go and pay. That's it. You're not worried about anything. Okay, so let me list out here, and I want you to get familiar with this particular terminology also. So we have IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So IaaS is nothing but infrastructure as a service. Okay, as a service is common. You can remember this. I means infrastructure as a service. P means platform as a service is common. And SaaS, software as a service. Infrastructure, platform, and software. Okay, good. So now let's move on. So these are some of the examples. We will discuss about them in detail. And when it comes to the SaaS platform examples or SaaS offerings, so these are all YouTube, Netflix, Gmail, Yahoo, Amazon. So these are all comes under SaaS platforms. Okay, now let's talk about the cloud deployment models. So we got to know some of the importance of the cloud and the on-premises, how the applications will be deployed, what are the things that you need to take care, and within a cloud, okay, what are the services, okay, different models they are providing. And now coming to the deployment models, they have 3 deployment models: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. Let's see what are all those. Coming to the public cloud, it is open for everybody. Anybody can use it. Okay, so something like your Azure from Microsoft, and AWS from Amazon, GCP from Google, and there are some more cloud providers also. Okay, if somebody wants to start using the services, they can simply approach them. You can get a subscription and start using it and pay them at the end of the month. It's open for everybody. That is called public cloud. And coming to the private cloud, it is kind of a data center, company's data center. Private cloud. Let's say, for example, I'll take an example as a TCS, for example. So if TCS has a data center, within the data center, okay, they develop some services. Okay, and those services, okay, are allowed to use only the internal projects, not to the other people. Okay, that is called private cloud. And coming to the hybrid, I would say it's a combination of both, using the public cloud as well as the private cloud. I can give you one example here. Let's say if you go to the banking and finance customers, so they don't want to migrate their data to the cloud. Why? Because so you are migrating your data to the cloud means you're simply putting your entire data into the Microsoft data center. Okay, that will be one of the security issue they might think, because for the banking and finance customers, the data will be the biggest business. If they lose it, okay, they have to pay huge losses. So for that reason, what they do is the front-ending application, okay, they will post it in the cloud. Okay, where the application is running. The backend database, okay, might be sitting in the on-premises. And to communicate from the application to the database, okay, we can establish some connectivities. We have a different connectivity methods. Okay, so we'll also see how we can establish these particular connectivities. So this is about hybrid, public plus private. So let me list out here. So we have 3 different cloud deployment models. We have a public cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Okay, so let's move on. So now let us see what are all the top cloud providers we have in the market. So Microsoft Azure, which is from Microsoft, so which we are going to learn. And we have a AWS, which is Amazon Web Services from the Amazon. And we have a GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform from the Google. So among these three cloud providers, these are some of the top cloud providers. Why? Because they have a very good global presence across the globe. Okay, they have the data center and they are able to provide their services. But among these three cloud providers, why Microsoft is very popular is one reason is that they have a very good global presence comparing with the remaining two cloud providers. They have almost like a 160 plus data centers. Okay, so let's say for example, you take any country. Let's say for example, I'll take a UK for example. So within UK, if a customer, one enterprise wants to move to the cloud, they always wanted to go with the one cloud provider wherein they have the presence in their location. Okay, if you take a London, for example, so within a London, if the Microsoft has a presence, okay, they will go to the Microsoft itself. Because okay, they don't want to put their data into the remaining countries because they have some GDPR rules. So in that sense, okay, Microsoft has a very good global presence. And we also have some other cloud providers like Alibaba Cloud, which is basically from China, and it is very popular in China itself. And Alibaba is one of the biggest e-commerce website also. Most of you might be familiar. And we have something called IBM Cloud and VMware Cloud. They are not much very popular because they have a very less global presence. Okay, so we also have some more cloud providers. Maybe I will list out here just for your awareness. So we have an Azure, which is from Microsoft. Maybe I'll put it like this. We have AWS. Let me put it like this. AWS we have GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. So we have a Alibaba Cloud, and we have IBM Cloud. We have VMware Cloud, and we have OCI also, which is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Oracle company, right? Wherein Oracle databases you might have heard. So they have their own cloud also. Okay, so we have some more also, etc. But among these three are very popular. So we are going to learn Azure. So let's talk about Azure more now. So if you look at some of the statistics, okay, how these particular cloud providers are performing. So if you see here, AWS, they have started in the year 2006. Amazon started providing these particular cloud services from the year 2006. And Microsoft started providing the services from the year 2010. Okay, they came into the market little late, though there is a 4 years gap from the AWS and Azure. But still, let's see the market cap. If you see the last year, in the year 2022, so if you see this particular, public cloud provider adoption rates, the company is trying to use the cloud. So Microsoft has more number of percentage than the AWS, though they have some gap of almost 4 years. Microsoft has occupied most of the market. And if you look at the 2023, the current year, till cloud, Azure is in top. Okay, so this is the right time, okay, you to learn the Azure and get into this particular roles. So let us see some more facts about the Azure also now. So earlier, when they started these particular Azure services in the year 2010, they used to call it as a Windows Azure. So as you could see, formerly called as a Windows Azure prior 2014. And after 2014, they started calling it as a Microsoft Azure. What is the reason behind it? We will discuss, okay, maybe in further sessions. And if you talk about what is Azure, the same thing. It is a comprehensive suite of cloud products that allows users to create the enterprise class applications. So without having their own built-in infrastructure. When you say infrastructure, all these things, whatever we discussed, these are all considered infrastructure. Okay, so let me put my definition here. So this is very simple now. Azure is a cloud computing platform, an online portal to access and manage the resources and services provided by Microsoft. Very simple. You are an end user, you go to your computer internet, okay, you log into the Azure portal And from here, you will just start accessing these services, that's it. So from here itself, okay, you will start creating these services, and from here itself, okay, you start, using those services. You don't have to manage anything. Okay, so once again, I'm saying Azure is a cloud computing platform, an online portal to access and manage the resources and services provided by Microsoft Azure. Okay, now let's move on. Let us see some of the facts about the Azure. So I'll skip this slide. Let us talk about it. So as I mentioned, Microsoft has almost like a 160 plus data centers. So let me show you some of the data centers where and all they have the presence. So I'll go to my browser. I would say Azure regions. Let's go to here. Okay, let me come down. So here you could see based on the geographies. Okay, so right now I'm in Poland, so accordingly it has chosen my region as a default. But yeah, you could see the complete regions. So we'll start with India. So if I go to India, here it is. So within India, they have the 3 data centers. One is Central India, okay, located in Pune, and they are operating from 2015. It's been almost like close to 8 years. And this is the new data center which they have announced last year, India South Central. It's one of the biggest data center in India for the Microsoft. Okay, so which is located heart of the city, Hyderabad. And you can imagine if the ones, okay, they set up this data center, okay, how would be the demand? Because if anybody wants to go to the cloud, they always choose the nearby data centers. And we also have South India, which is in Chennai. Okay, we had one more data center called West India. I think now they duplicated it. So it was in somewhere in Mumbai. Okay, that was replaced by this South Central. And if you look at the UK, so let's go to the UK, United Kingdom. So within UK, so they have 2 data centers, one in UK South and UK West. One is in London and one more is in Cardiff. And they are operating from 2016. And if you see the remaining European regions, okay, Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Europe, Finland, France, Germany, everywhere they have the presence. Okay, and you can see they have the very good presence in US, United States. They have close to 10 data centers in US. And US is the primary region if the Microsoft is coming up with the new services. Okay, and here you could see they are operating it from the 2009, 2012. And US is the region wherein you get some lesser cost comparing with other regions. So tomorrow we'll see the pricing part also. That time you will understand. But yeah, here you could see US has a very good presence. So many data centers they have. So if I drag it left, okay, here you could see they have so many data centers in different cities. And if you wanted to see how these data centers are, connected, so let me export this particular globe. Okay, learn more. So we have a data center view for the Microsoft, how these data centers are located in a different geographies across the globe. So, and how they're connected also, we can see. So let's wait for this. Okay, it is still loading. Here we go. So let me start from India region. So here you could see this is the India region, and wherein you have a data center in South India and Central India. And this is the new data center which is coming in Hyderabad with this whole Central India. And here you could see these data centers are connected with each other with a fiber connectivity. Okay, and if you see somewhere in other cities like UK, probably can go up. Not sure where exactly it is. This is a Europe, and somewhere here UK. Here it is. Okay, so yeah, this is how they connected all these data centers. Let me come back. So 160 plus countries, okay, they have 160 plus data centers and 60 regions, and your Azure portal is supported almost like a 19 plus languages. Now they have come up with a new language. And yeah, so as I said, they're connected with fiber connectivity across the data centers. And if you see any Fortune 500 companies, everybody using the cloud. And this is something very interesting thing. So every month, okay, so Microsoft is getting almost 1 lakh plus new subscriptions, which means new customers will be coming up, adding it, and you can imagine the demand to the cloud, especially Azure. And this was a previous view. Okay, they made some change, and as I mentioned earlier, they had some West India, which is located in Mumbai. And if you wanted to get started with the Microsoft Azure, these are the multiple ways we have. So first way is you can create a free trial account, which I'm going to show you maybe tomorrow or day after. So you can just go ahead and create a free trial account, which is valid for 1 month. And you can also get a Microsoft Azure subscription with a Microsoft Azure Pass, which means Microsoft will be conducting some virtual trainings. So maybe let me show you that. Okay, let's go here. So when you go to this particular Microsoft official virtual training days, so here based on the technology, so these are the Microsoft products. So let me go with the Microsoft Azure. So here you could see some of the basics, okay, DevOps, different virtual trainings, okay, they will be conducting. Okay, I think this is already over, and you could see upcoming events. So for example, if I see this event, okay, it is going to conduct on the 20 and 21st. So if I click on it, so you can go and register for this event. Okay, so you can give your details. Okay, and you could see the curriculum, what they are going to cover. They are going to cover very basic. Okay, cloud fundamentals, how we can use it. It will be hardly 1 or 2 hours, not more than that. And when you attend these type of trainings, they will give you one voucher. And using that voucher also, you can simply create a subscription that is called Microsoft Azure Pass, which is mostly given for the students, like who will be pursuing the official courses. And the third thing is, okay, you can go with the MSDN subscription. So people who are already working, okay, you can understand more better. So you might have heard about a Visual Studio subscription, right? Wherein developer will be having a Visual Studio to develop their code. So if you have that particular license, so using that license, okay, you can create a subscription also. And the fourth thing, pay as you go. So everybody can create this. So whatever you create, you have to pay them at the end of the month. And enterprise agreement is the one which enterprises will follow. Wherein, okay, if you take any enterprise, so they will have a certain agreements with the cloud providers for using certain services for the certain number of years. Okay, so we'll also discuss about in detail, okay, each one. And this is the URL which we are going to use to start with your Azure, which is portal.azure.com. And you can simply remember most of the Microsoft portals will start with the portal dot. Okay, portal.office.com, something like that. So portal.azure.com. So this also will see tomorrow. And let us talk about the certification paths. So I'll quickly walk you through some of the Microsoft Azure provider certifications. So I will say Azure certification path 2023. So maybe let me go with some images. Okay, let me choose this. Okay, let's copy it. Okay, so these are the wide variety of certification paths which Microsoft has. So among these, so I'll highlight two of the things here, what we are going to learn as part of this training. So we are going to cover Azure Administrator, AZ104. So once you are done with the Azure Administrator, in another next 30 to 40 days, you are eligible to go and give this exam, which is AZ104. And once we are done with this, okay, we'll start with the DevOps, which is Azure DevOps, and which is the certification in AZ400. So for next 3 months, I'm going to cover these two certifications of concepts, Azure Admin and Azure DevOps. And if at all, if you wanted to write Azure DevOps, this Azure Administration is mandatory. Either Azure Administrator or this particular developing the solutions with Microsoft Azure. So any one of the certificate is mandatory to write your Azure DevOps exam. Okay, and apart from this, you have so many categories of certifications. So let me highlight few of the things. So Azure for SAP workloads. You might have heard about SAP, technologies, right? So wherein, okay, Microsoft Azure is offering them as a service now. And for that, you have AZ120 and VDS, Citrix, you might have heard about. Okay, so these VDS, okay, they're offering IoT, architect, okay. And if you are from security, AZ500, security engineer, and Azure Stack is kind of a private cloud wherein Microsoft will set up all the Azure services into the company's data centers. Okay, and then if you are coming from a networking background, okay, Azure network engineer you have, and this is something hybrid administrator. You managing the on-premises and the cloud. And if people are coming from a database backgrounds, so these are the complete data related certifications. Azure Data Science, DP100, Data Engineer 203, Database Administrator, and AI, which is Artificial Intelligence. Okay, so different certification paths we have, but we are going to concentrate on these two, AG104 and AG400. Okay, so let's move on. This is about it. And very interesting thing. So once you're done with this particular respective training, so you will see this type of roles in the market, something like Azure engineer, cloud engineer, or Azure DevOps engineer, and Azure DevOps admin, DevOps